Hey guys, welcome back to Semojo Homestead, where today I am planting our sweet potatoes that finally got to us. We actually got sweet potatoes from two different companies, and one of them I was highly disappointed with. The other one did a pretty good job of shipping them. I'll talk about that a little bit later. Now, I'm not one to use social media to like put down a company, but I am going to give an honest opinion. And so I will not be ordering from that company again. But again, we'll get to that later. So if you guys are new with us, thank you for joining us. I'm glad you found us, and welcome to Semojo Homestead, where we like to have beautiful garden spaces and where we try to raise most of the food that we consume, including our protein. So if that's something that you think would interest you, then we invite you to become a part of our YouTube family, which is simply just hitting that subscribe button. If you've already done that, thank you so much. But enough of that. We're gonna go ahead and get started getting these sweet potatoes planted. All right, so let's talk about the varieties that we got. We got three different varieties. One is the Beauregard, which is like your very traditional, very common sweet potato. It's more than likely the one that you're going to see in the grocery store. Just a very good all-around sweet potato. The other one, I've got to read these because I honestly don't remember. I remember kind of the types, but not the names. So next is Marusaki. I may be pronouncing that wrong, but this is a Japanese variety that actually has a purple skin, but more of a white or creamy flesh on the inside. The first time that we found these, now I'm not sure if it's the same exact variety, but I'm pretty sure it is. But the first time we saw a Japanese sweet potato, it was actually at a Whole Foods store, not Whole Foods grocery store, but a Whole Foods grocery store that sells local produce. And we fell in love with that. It is a starchier sweet potato, but really, really creamy. It does kind of have that more, I guess, drier texture that sweet potatoes tend to have, but just a very complex flavor, kind of a nutty, almost molasses-like flavor profile, but it is really good. So I'm excited that these came from the company that was better at shipping their slips. And then the last one is... Okay, so I lost the tag for the last one. But I know that we ordered O. Henry, and I honestly don't remember the other one that we ordered. I don't remember which one came from Haas, which is one of the companies we ordered from, and which one came from Southern Seed Exposure. So let's talk about that. All right, so truth be told, Southern Seed Exposure, thankfully, we only got one bunch of sweet potatoes from them. I was very, very disappointed in the way that those came. I got 3 planted, and then one I was able to revive, this one. The majority of the slips that came, if you don't know, this is called a sweet potato slip. This is how you plant sweet potatoes, with a slip. You don't have like a seed potato at the base of it like you would a normal potato. Sweet potatoes are actually not in the potato family. But anyway, so most of the slips came half rotten, like soggy. Basically, like there wasn't much I could do to revive them. The tops, I was hoping on most of them that were still a little bit firm I could do something with, but they all ended up just going to mush, or almost all of them. So very disappointed. Will not be ordering from them again. Again, not to bash them, but to just be straight up honest with you guys. Now, Haas, H-O-S-S, was very pleased with the way they came. Now, it is not unusual for them to come wilted like that. That's not a big deal. Sweet potato slips are very, very hardy. They will bounce back. This whole like top section, even if it dies off, as long as it doesn't go mush, will be able to regenerate growth off of the base of the vine and go from there. So this is more of what I was expecting, not mushy, unplantable slips. So I'm going to go ahead and get these in the ground. We've got rain kind of coming in and out today, so this should be a perfect day to plant them. You do not want to put slips in the ground if they're bare root or barely rooted, like on a hot day, or definitely like in the middle of the afternoon when the sun is just beating down on them. It's best to do it on an overcast day or at the very end of the day in the evening, so that they have kind of the cool of the night to settle in before they hit their first hot day in the sun. But in any case, you want to make sure you get them watered in really, really good within that first day of them being in the ground. So I'm going to start planting these, and we will continue to talk about how we're planting them, why we're planting them where we are, and kind of what we're doing if you have not seen that in any of our other videos. So if you haven't seen any of the other videos that we've been showing the garden or talking about the garden and how we're doing it this year, every year we like to do it a little bit different. We like to kind of theme our garden. A friend of ours, Jess, over at Roots and Refuge, names her garden. When you do something like that, it just gives you a little bit more attachment to the thing that you have. In this case, a garden. And we don't name ours, we theme it. I'm a designer, so just by nature or curse or whatever you want to call it, I like to have things different each year and have creative license. So our garden is constantly changing, it seems like. However, I think we're locking into like what it will permanently be, but I digress. So all that being said, this year we are planting several things together and doing loosely companion gardening. Now, we're not doing like the strict, like by the book companion gardening of, oh, this has to be together or this can't be together. No, we're not putting anything together that doesn't like to grow together, but we're also not really getting picky about, you know, this particular thing, like basil has to be with our tomatoes or whatever. So in this section of the garden is where we have all of our summer squash planted. We've got some volunteer peanuts from last year, but mainly the things that were planned for this were our summer squash, our green beans, peppers, and then the sweet potatoes. The idea was to get them in sooner than now and have them run and be basically a living mulch. So they're gonna run in between everything in these rows and cover the ground. The other idea behind that is, in theory, they will be able to grow over and around the base of the squash plants, which will then add enough cover and confuse those squash vine borers enough to where it will help eliminate or at least cut back on that pest and what it does to our squash plants. We really have a hard time fighting it. We just did a video on that. I'll link it right here for you guys to check out if you missed it. But that's what we're hoping. Again, took a long time for these to show up, which is not a big deal, but they're just behind everything else that's growing in the garden. So we're gonna see how that works. They're also gonna be planted in our tomato rows and grow kind of around and underneath all of those as well. So I'm getting the last few in. Excited to see these guys grow, fill in, and be a living mulch for our garden this year. And then more excited to see what type of harvest we're gonna get off of these guys and just the variety from the different types that we are growing. Thank you guys so much for joining me. As always, hope you guys have a great week and be blessed.